Hey guys, how you going? This is another video, infiNity Battrep by Khavrion. This was a short game. We actually called it after the top of the second turn had been completed. For a wide variety of reasons, you'll see why. But there's still some stuff that I want to talk about. Specifically, I want to talk about the Wildcat Heavy Rocket Launcher. I have been thinking about Corregidor recently. I have been running lists that just don't use wildcats or intruders, and because of that, those lists are lacking on MSV. So what I've been trying to think about is how do I leverage the awesome wildcard options in Corregidor in conjunction with the multispectral visor on the Wildcat. I don't have a good answer. This video shows a problem that the Wildcat runs into that I've seen happen kind of often when I try to use the Wildcat. And my hope by making this video is to get some feedback or some commentary or just some visibility, honestly, on how I'm trying to use the Wildcat and on why that's just not working. And maybe you guys can say something about how I should be using the Wildcat or something. So let's get started. The mission is Unmasking. I am playing Corregidor over here. My opponent, Lord Frank, we've played a bunch. He is playing Aleph. He is practicing for a tournament. His list is experimental, and we'll sort of see parts of that experiment that don't end up working out. The primary focus of this video, though, is on the experimental side for me, and that experiment is the Wildcat. I'm trying to make that work. I win the die roll. I go first, and my opponent chooses to make me deploy first, and they choose that edge of the deployment zone. So let's just go take you through what I have. You can't see it here, but there is a camouflaged Moran. There's another camouflaged Moran there. This particular list is set up for sort of an anti-Ariadna thing. So I'm thinking no Jazz and Billy. So I'm not taking the repeater Morans. Obviously, against Aleph, there should be plenty of hackable targets, but I'm practicing a list to try to practice an idea, and I don't have Jazz in this case. I got a wild Warcore over there. This is McMurra. This is Lupe Balboa. And Lupe will pair with the Heavy Rocket Launcher Wildcat right here and the Dactari, who is right there. You can't see them, but there should also be two Alguacils inside this building as well. Then I have a Boarding Shotgun Evader, not an engineer. Another Boarding Shotgun Evader, still not an engineer. Dactari, I believe that's Senior Massacre. And then there is a Mobile Brigada missile launcher right there. This is my opponent's list. I'll just kind of take you through it. It's a bit of a weird list, but we'll see. There is a Danavos right there. We have a Lamed Flashbot, Netrod there. I believe there's another Netrod right here. I don't really remember. This is a Merritt. I believe that was his withheld piece. And we have an Authorized Bounty Hunter right there. There's also Parvati paired with a Udbot right here. We have a Warcore. This is Phoenix and Vanilla. Again, another one of those experimental picks. And then we have Skilla right here with her bot. One of them's right there, and the other's downstairs right there. So this is my opponent's list. None of the usual suspects that you'd see, but again, this video is mostly about the Wildcat. I guess the last thing I'll talk about is the HVT placement. I've decided to stuff all three of my HVTs underneath this bridge, whereas my opponent has put one HVT here, one HVT is here, and I believe one HVT is there. Meanwhile, the consoles are right here, which is upstairs. There's another one right here that you can't quite see, and then one right here again, which is upstairs. So let's go over my turn. What I'm going to try to do, first things first, is I'm going to take my core. I'm going to have a core linked Wildcat Heavy Rocket Launcher. I'm going to pair that with Evader, Dactari, Mobile Brigada Missile Launcher. And my hope is to take this guy, get him upstairs over here or something, run all the way over there, and have a gunfight with Phoenix right there. I'm thinking I got the MSV thing going on. We'll see how that goes. And I also want to make sure that I have the smoke advantage. So I am going to have McMurrow. He's going to run forward to here, and he throws smoke right there. So the idea is I'll be shooting through smoke, and we will see what happens. Here is the smoke, and here is me trying to take the shot. Looks like I moused over a Kuge delegate rather than the actual target. And we can see Phoenix off in the distance here. So I'm shooting at him through smoke. There's Phoenix. There's me. I got burst 3. I've got MSV1, and there's smoke. So, but I'm core linked, and I'm in good range. So if he shoots back, he's probably pretty bad. +3 for range, -6. So he might be on a 7. So he's not going to shoot back. He's going to dodge on a 13. Meanwhile, I'm shooting burst 3 on 7s. So Immediately, yeah, I got the burst advantage. Maybe he'll miss. Maybe something will go well. And if a rocket does land, it's fire. So if it does land, the odds are okay that I might actually just put Phoenix straight to dead. But this is still, I mean, let's be honest, this is not a great matchup. So I'm experimenting here. I'm kind of seeing what happens. My gut's telling me this isn't going to work out great. This is not the kind of thing which you should count on working out well. And it doesn't work out well. I spend like 3 or 4 orders on this, and I'm moving my link around, so it's not totally wasted, but come on. I just completely don't really inflict any damage. So after that, I think I fall back into an ARO position with this guy. Meanwhile, as I am down there, the other thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take this evader, and he ends up running all the way around this way, and he climbs up here, and I'm thinking, okay, he's got climbing plus. I can climb up to push the button because all evaders are specialists, and that's going to at least allow me to unmask one of the delegates. And he spends like 3 orders trying to push this button. So this is a real case where if I had brought Jazz, sure, she wouldn't have been able to climb up, but she'd be able to roll twice and have +3. So I'm wasting orders because I didn't bring Jazz. But on the other hand, it is kind of unlucky to fail like 3 times. So far I've failed 3 times to shoot, and I failed to push a button like 2 or 3 times. And when I end up discovering, I think I discover like that one, and it turns out it's a fake anyway. So really not a great turn. I think I put a War Core unconscious. I think that's what this unconscious marker is for. I use the Wildcat to shoot the War Core through smoke, but honestly, not a terribly effective turn so far. So I'm basically down to group 2 orders, and I'm thinking I got to do something. Here's the positioning of my fire team. We have the rocket launcher boy there looking in that direction. We have the missile launcher over here. The Merit is over in that direction, so my hope is that I'm fairly defensive against that. I've put Massacre out because he can throw burst to Eclipse Smoke on really goods, and I've got the Dactari right there. So, this defensive position isn't terrible. What I basically do is I hurl McMurrah up the board. He is incredibly fast. He is currently right here, and he just runs all the way to like right here. He keeps going over to here, and his plan is to try to hit this Lamed, and then there's a net rod behind, and he's going to double chain rifle them, and he's going to end his turn watching Skilla has a bot right there. That's pretty much what he does. He pretty much runs around. He manages to put the net rod unconscious. The Lamed is still alive, so, McMurrah, he's good. No, not telling you anything you didn't already know. And that brings us to my opponent's turn. So I am going to keep using this picture here to kind of tell what happens. But this is where I think things kind of end up being, not as good for my opponent as you might expect. So so McMurrah got targeted. I think he actually killed the net rod. We maybe put an unconscious marker down and then realized they're not rems. I don't remember. He gets targeted in an arrow. It's my opponent's turn, and my opponent is thinking, okay, time to go push buttons. Who do we want to use to push buttons? Skilla. So here's Skilla. Here's her bot. Here's her other bot. And immediately you should be seeing that McMurrah can see the other bot. And so as Skilla advances, I'm just going to be dodging and being a real pain with McMurrah. He initially moves forward and tries to keep Skilla out of line of fire, but McMurrah dodges in, and now McMurrah is here, and he can see in that direction. So he has Phoenix throw smoke down, but I can still see Skilla. And Skilla is continuing to advance. So as Skilla continues up this way to advance, this Diva bot had originally been over there, but then it decided to come back to try to fight McMurrah. And so I'm seizing my opportunity here. I throw a grenade on Skilla. Boom, there's the grenade. It hits everybody because Skilla was back by that prone marker at the start, and this guy had moved out there as well. And basically what happens is Skilla ends up going unconscious from this shot. So McMurrah was able to put Skilla unconscious, and that's just a huge order sink for my opponent. Not a great play to push Skilla through, especially given that McMurrah could see. With this setup, though, it does not last long. The Merit now decides to act. The Merit is over here, and it's just going to run over here, shoot at McMurrah on like 21s. He crits like 3 times. I've got total immunity, but whatever, right? Not much I can do about that. And we're talking, 6 or 7 saves or some nonsense. He just goes straight to dead. So long story short is McMurrah does die to the Merit very quickly. So what happens next is the Merit is trying to move up the field. It moved around to here, It then vaulted up to there. It's eating War Core shots the whole time. He just can't seem to be able to put that War Core down. I can't seem to stun him though, BTS 9, so maybe that's how that goes. But anyway, the Merit then ends up in this position, and the only thing that I have guarding that flank is the Wildcat Heavy Rocket Launcher. So here we have the matchup with the Merit and the Wildcat, and as soon as it becomes clear that this is what's happening, I'm thinking this is a bad idea. Sure, I'm Ballistic Skills 16 effectively because of the fire teams, and I'll have Burst 2, which is not nothing, but he's Burst 4 on 15s, and even if I do win the face-to-face, he's still Armor 9. Yeah, maybe I ignore the armor bonus to him because of his cover, but the fact is that I am not likely to do a lot of damage even if I hit. Worse, I'm Armor 2, I'm in cover. If he uses shock ammo, and I think he does use shock ammo, I'm just gonna... I have a greater than 50% chance of dying even on one save, and that would just go straight to dead. So it's just not looking good for me. And I think in a greater sense, a lot of the times that I see people talking about the use case for this guy, it is in the use of him as like a lane guard or an edge guard or something like that. And that's sort of what I was experimenting with. I was trying to see, can this guy sit up there and cover these lines of fire? Because being on top of this has some fairly long lines of fire. And with a threat like the Barrett on the table, yeah, the Barrett is very dangerous, but it's not the most dangerous thing you can run into. And in that case, it's just not a good matchup. And yeah, it's no surprise to anyone, I end up dying. It's a possibility that I might have gotten lucky and soaked up a little bit of extra orders, but the fact of the matter is, it was not something that I could have expected to win. And I don't know, that was kind of it for the Wildcat. Whiffed a whole bunch of shots at Phoenix. Those were bad shots for me to have taken. I probably wasn't using it right against Phoenix in that case. But he still whiffed 3 orders in a row. I mean, didn't even roll above a 7, but, that's not that unlikely to lose a face-to-face in that case and do nothing. And then the Merit comes rolling around and he just gets wasted. And that was it for the Wildcat. So far, I'm not whelmed by this. I am quite underwhelmed by this Wildcat's performance. Anyway, it's my turn again. That's honestly pretty much the story of this game, but I will kind of wrap this up in the end. I have Carlotta, and he has left me a gap in his deployment zone. So I just appear right here with Carlotta. I have my little Moriarty right there. It may look like this Danavas can see, but the line just doesn't quite pull it off, and Parvati likewise can't see. I won't necessarily go through the details. There is some luck on either side, but the fact of the matter is that Carlotta just eats everything alive. I believe I kill the Lamed, I kill the Danavas, I kill the authorized bounty hunter there, I kill Parvati. My opponent could have chosen to dodge Phoenix into a position to be more aggressive. I do have to spend some time, using climbing plus to find angles where Phoenix can't see me. But the fact of the matter is that the game ends because Carlotta shows up, he's not expecting it, and I'm able to gun down, the majority of his orders. And after that happens, we basically stop. So that was this game. It was short. It was brief. It was decided largely by, I think, some plays that weren't necessarily the best plays by my opponent, such as losing the first turn with Skilla, and then to exposing the back arc to Carlotta. That's really something that is quite preventable in the grand scheme of things. Is to, just have somebody watching every part of your deployment zone when you're playing Corregidor and they've got a missing order. But it happened, and I did kill something that was watching this spot previously. But yeah, so that's the game, and we call it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the game. I might not necessarily make a video, especially since my opponent's list and playstyle was very experimental here, but I did want to talk about the Wildcat. As I make this video, the last closing thought that I did kind of want to bring up in the spirit of fairness to that poor boy is the initial plan with the Wildcat was that I would take him, I would put him in the core, and I would run all the way across the board, and I would have McMurrow throw smoke, and then I would do the Kodali smoke trick with the assault pistol. So I'd be burst 5 assault pistol, core linked, shooting through smoke, but they have to dodge, and the hope is that that would be a really effective way at killing stuff. And obviously, that's not what happened in this case. I didn't even run the Wildcat across the board. But I think the important part is as soon as the game was about to start, I was looking at that board and I was thinking, that is an awful long way to have to travel in order to try to use an assault pistol on somebody. And I think that that is a fair commentary. Maybe I should have gone for it anyway, and maybe I will go for it anyway in a future video, and we'll be able to see what happens. But for now, I thought about that. That's what he was there for, and I just in the moment didn't think that it was worth giving that a shot. So, in fairness to the Wildcat, I didn't use him in the way that he was supposed to be used. Maybe it would have been better had I done that, but it's hard to imagine running all the way across the board on turn one and really laying into someone with the assault pistol. So I don't think that that is necessarily too unreasonable to have not adopted that strategy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and talk to you next time.